Welcome to Chapter 2. We're going to start talking about matter because this really matters. First off, what is matter? Well, by definition, matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Makes sense, right? Well, it's composed of little tiny particles called atoms. That's the most important part of this class, atoms. All matter's made of atoms. Like that. For our class, we're going to picture atoms as little tiny balls. Elements. This is a vocab word. You need to know what an element is. Do you know what an element is? Well, an element can be made up of a single atom. So in this case, I have a gold element, the element gold, which is a bunch of gold atoms all stuck together. Here we have elemental hydrogen. Now, this is where it gets really confusing for kids, see, because they think, oh my gosh, there's two things bonded together, so how can that be an element? Well, I'll tell you, by definition, an element is the same atom. I don't care how many of them you have stuck together. Some common elements that we have, but if it's all made up of the same type of atom, it is called on the top of a match. An element. And it's made up of 10 different phosphorus atoms all hooked up, but it's still called an element because there's only one type of atom. White phosphorus, mean, nasty stuff used in, well, used to be used in the military, but you can't use it anymore. Doesn't mean it's not being used. You're just not supposed to use it anymore, but phosphorus is an element even though there's 4, see, 1, 2, 3, 4 phosphorus atoms stuck together. A diamond. A diamond is an element. It's made up of 4 carbon atoms. I don't know what I was going to say. 4 carbon atoms all stuck together. Up here, I like this picture up here because it shows a bunch of these structures stuck together, and you can see like that beautiful diamond pattern in it. Another element you should be using is graphite. Graphite's just made up of carbon atoms. They're in these nice layers like that, and there's some bonds here, but it's only made up of carbon. A compound is different. See, because unlike an element, a compound is made up of different types of atoms bonded together. You really should have those words in there. Bonded. Not James, but bonded together. Yeah. They got to be fused, bonded together in some way, and they have to be different. For example, carbon dioxide is 1 carbon, 2 oxygen atoms bonded together. Then we have water looking like a Mickey Mouse, and that's made up of, let's see, H2O. So that's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. Then we have this funky looking molecule, which is actually glucose. You need to know, again, more definition. 3 different atoms stuck together. Solids. Solids are around us, solids are everywhere, and solids have a rigid structure. The little balls do move, but they kind of vibrate in place. The only time you can get something to stop moving is when we get to the absolute zero, which we'll talk more about later. Until then, you need to know that solids have a definite shape and a definite volume. This is the vocab definition that you need to know. Liquids, on the other hand, we have liquids all around us. Liquids have more energy for those particular atoms or molecules or elements or compounds or whatever. The liquids move a lot more. Like that. To me, that always kind of looks like, you know, a big pile of bees on a beehive. Anyway, the point is, the definition that you need to know, that liquids have no definite shape, but they absolutely have a definite volume. You can measure this, the volume, easy peasy. But a liquid takes the shape of its container. Gases, well, the air we breathe is made up of a bunch of different gases. There's actually a little bit of argon in the air we breathe, tiny bit of helium in the air that we breathe, and gases are everywhere. The coolest thing about a gas, like this picture shows, is a gas is compressible. Compressible. Did I spell that correctly? I have to look that up. Another way to do that is squeezable. You can squeeze a gas. That's the coolest part about a gas. Now, a gas does not have a definite shape, does not have a definite volume. That's the definition that you need to know. And the atoms themselves, they're spaced far apart. They don't interact with each other at all. They're just individual gas molecules kind of floating around in space. About matter's physical changes, the physical changes that matter can go through, and the physical properties of matter.